Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. That is still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing a late 2017 launch in 145 pieces. This is the Lange Sohne 1815 Homage to Walter Lange. Everything right down to the reference, which starts with 297, is premised on the history of Lange and Walter Lange's heritage as the last watchmaking scion of the founding Lange family. Walter Lange died in early 2017. He, along with Günter Blumlein, had reestablished Lange Sohne in 1990, a company that had been subsumed into the GUB, the collectivized watchmaking factory of Eastern Germany. It was brought back as a mark in its own right in 1990 before launching its first watches in 1994. So when Walter passed, they wanted to create a watch that would incorporate something that was near and dear to him, a deadbeat seconds complication first proposed by F.A. Lange in 1867. F.A. Lange was the founder of East German watchmaking, and then it was first implemented on a watch in 1877 by Walter Lange's grandfather, Emil Lange. So we have a watch here that spans eras of this company, and this 145-piece white gold in the limited edition was one of three golds. There was rose and there was yellow. Yellow was made in 27 pieces, and 90 examples of the rose gold model were made. Now here in white gold, you can see same dimensions as all the others, so 40.5 millimeters in diameter, 11 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 47.9 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it wears easily. It will slide underneath just about any cuff. It's low-lying, fairly thin with a domed bezel. It's a watch of respectable size, but I would say it's a little bit more traditional than full-sized, as a sub 48 millimeter lug-to-lug dimension is pretty compact for a 40.5 millimeter case. So I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference. Again, my wrist is 16. The strap is high grade. It is large rectangular scale alligator leather in dark brown with a matte finish, a little bit of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume. It has a broad sheer cut side, a monotone stitch on the bottom, brown calfskin, no crimping, no gouging, a brand new Lange factory strap. Here we have Lange's rarely seen deployant clasp. Most Lange watches, even some complications, come with pin buckles, so this is something special. The clasp adds more heft and substance to the watch, but also security against accidentally dropping it. That is the advantage of a deployant clasp. The case is relatively simple, though it does have satination at the mid-case to provide some visual contrast with the polished elements. You can see how the case back is set back, which makes the watch look even thinner than it is when it's on the wrist. The lugs, as with almost all Lange watches, are stepped out, so they're visually distinct from the case band. This is no Portuguese or Calatrava. The lugs are loud and proud, and there's a soft bevel on the side of the lugs, which are polished on their tops and their outer faces. You can see that the pusher for the stop seconds mechanism, we may as well just call it the quasi-chronograph, that has a combination of satin and polish. And then we have a Lange branded white gold crown to match. The bezel has a short vertical step and then domed profile leading up to the dial. Now you know this is an 1815 because it features Arabic numerals. If it were Roman numerals, it would be a Richard Lange. If it were stick indices, it would be a Saxonia. The dial is made of solid sterling silver, and it's been colored to give it this silver white tone. We have several different planes. You can see there's a stepped track outboard against which you can read the seconds and the minutes. Step down, you get the hour track now. Step down again, you get the center dial, and the final step down is to the sub-register, which is the running seconds. This is one of very few watches you can buy that features both a sweep seconds display and a deadbeat seconds display. The hands are all blued steel, counterweighted lancet for the seconds, and then we have alpha-style hands for the hours and minutes. Now, the watch does feature a stop seconds function that'll stop both of the seconds hands. And then we have this selectable deadbeat system. It's not a chronograph in the sense that you can't start, stop, and reset it. If you want to start from the beginning, you need to stop it at 12. But you do have the ability to start it and stop it at will. And it has a lovely soft gate across the dial. Rolling over, you can see there is a lot of watchmaking theater on the reverse side. But first, let's talk a little bit about those edition numbers. I mentioned that 145 examples of the white gold were made. That corresponds to 145 years between the founding of the original Lange company and the refounding of the Lange company in 1990. There was also the rose gold edition of 90 pieces. Again, that's symbolic of 1990, the year of the refounding. And then finally, 27 pieces for the yellow gold example, and that symbolizes 27 years since the refounding of the company until the launch of this specific model. This reference starts with 297, and July 29th was Walter Lange's birthday, and so that's the significance there. You can also see that this is caliber L1924, and that corresponds with the year Walter Lange was born. But what really sets this movement apart is the extraordinary combination of a column wheel system for selecting a chronograph deadbeat second, and then the deadbeat second mechanism itself, which uses two pawls and a pawl wheel, and it's a rare application of not just indirect center seconds, but apparently indirect deadbeat center seconds. I can't think of another watch that has this system, and you can see how it's achieved. Engaging and disengaging via this lever arm, the clutch via the escape wheel adjacent to the balance. Then we have this extensive bridge in German silver that connects to this double-sprung, double-pallet deadbeat seconds wheel. And so the watch does have two heartbeats. One is 6 beats per second, one is 1 beat per second. It's manual wind, it's got a 60-hour power reserve, the 3 hertz beat rate. You can see it pivots on 36 joules. It is adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horologer and chronometer standard, so high horology and chronometer, 5 positions, bare minimum. We also have a free-sprung balance and an overcoil hairspring, 2 features that are not universal on Lange watches, and I'll give you a better view of that balance right there. You can see that it's effectively fixed, with the adjustments principally being made using variable inertia bolts on the balance, although fine adjustments can also be made using the Swan's Neck Fine Adjustment Index. That overcoil hairspring allows the watch to breathe concentrically in any position. That is, the hairspring will develop to the same extent in any position regardless of gravity, because an overcoil has a more centered mass than a conventional flat hairspring. In terms of finish, everything you expect. All this is protected down to 30 meters, water resistant. The bridges and plates are golden hued German silver, an alloy of nickel, copper, and zinc, with the copper giving it the golden hue. You could see that many of the screws, as well as the swan's neck and the column wheel, have been black polished, so they reflect light in only one direction. From every other angle, they appear to be black. We also had fire-blued screws, or kiln-fired blue oxidized steel screws. We have German stripes across the bridges. This is not Switzerland. They are not Côte de Genève. We have both beveling and satination on the steel compartment over to the left. This chronograph gear is all steel with satin on its top and then a mirrored chamfer on its side. We have double solarization on the ratchet wheel, which is held by a black polished swan's neck style click spring and a click. A freehand engraved half bridge for the balance, so you can see it's been freehand engraved, so no two of these structures will be exactly alike. Look closely and you can see that there's snailing as well as beveling on the bridge for the escapement below the balance, nothing overlooked. Mirrored anglage on all of the German silver bridges. We also have a 3/4 style plate under that, evocative of the pocket watch era of Lange watchmaking. Note that there's a combination of large and smaller engine-turned perlage on the base plate. We also have golden chaton, or golden jewel cups, that are a nod to the way jewels were generally fitted during the pocket watch era, first into a precision chaton and then screwed into place and fixed using screws in the bridges and the plates. And you can see some of the elements are exceptional, like the beveling inside the escape wheel for the deadbeat system. You can see that there's a mirrored chamfer inside that structure, which is deeply impressive. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for all of your purchase and pricing questions.